Hey guys, it's so nice to see you again today. We're going to continue a little bit in the cage work thing that we were doing from last work, the beading with wire. We're going to do a little bit with the rose Montees, show you a little bit about them and a good way to get them onto your design and how to get around the little flowers and so forth. Real basic technique. It's real fiddly, but you know, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and then maybe you'll work with it and you'll even find a better way. You know what? If you do, please let me know, because I'm all over it. I'm all about a better way. This is how I've done it for years. This is how I've observed it done, you know, in the pieces that I have. So we'll go with that, and I'll show you a few pretty things that I did. And hey, after that, it's up to you to get your Russian gold-plated brass and your rose Montees and your little pearlies and your seed beads and all that stuff, and have yourself a really good time making vintage beaded jewelry. So come on over here and let's talk about rose Montees. So here we go. Bear with us. We're experimenting with new angles so that my hands will hopefully not be so much in your way. And maybe this video will help you better, but I'm going to go ahead, and when this video is over within the next day or two, I'm going to put on my blog, which Javi will run the URL for that right under here at this time, and you can come in and see close-up shots. Okay, and then at the end of this we're going to try and do a few too for you, because I really want you to see. Okay, so once again we're going to do the rose Montees. Now what's a rose Montee? Very difficult to get that in from here, so at the end we'll show you some pictures and I'll do it on my blog too. But it's actually a little crystal stone. Coming up on that, Javi? Little crystal stone. This is 4mm, and it's set in actually a tin mount, and it has on the back of it, and I know it's hard for you to see here, it has a little thing that looks like an X, and it's actually channels where you can pass through with wire, or some people sew them onto clothing. For jewelry, it's better with wire, in my opinion. Anyway, we'll be using these because in the old Miriam Haskell and vintage jewelry, you will see them a lot. And once you see what I'm doing with them, you're going to say, if you have any background at all in vintage, you're going to say, oh yeah, I know what those are, I've seen them. Well, you want to know how to put them on this stuff. And it's fairly simple. I start with, maybe foot to 10 inches maybe of 28 gauge wire. This is artistic wire, but if you have beadsmith, pearl wire, whatever you like, just want a copper wire with a good sturdy coating on it, this works okay. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to start out, and we are going to put rose Montees on this little sprig here. I'm trying to balance it on my finger so you can see it. I don't know if that's working out, Javi. Okay, so we want to get a rose Montee here, and here, and here, and here. Sometimes I'll do it continuous with one piece of wire, and sometimes I have to stop and start over again. It's really not hard either way. So I'm going to go ahead and do it, and hopefully I can show you, you know, what I'm doing from this angle, and you'll understand. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, and I got to hold it this way, so I don't know how this is going to go, but I want to wrap this wire around the end on this little tiny section here that's got a hole in it. Okay, so I'm going to take this and just kind of go around real tight, just like when you do in wire wraps, you know, when you do your earrings and stuff like that. Just a tight little wire wrap right here. Go around 2-3 times, just like that. Pass. Like this. And then I'm going to take this wire, and I always leave a pretty good long tail because we're going to use that for the twist off. And then I'll go right down here on my mat, and I love these little fluffy mats. If you order some rose Montees or some stuff from us and you want one of these mats, just say so in the memo of your order. I've got a whole bunch of them left over from the event, and I'd be happy to give you one. They don't weigh anything, won't cost more to ship, really. We'll stuff it down there in your envelope or your box, and you can have one if you don't have it. So I'll do that for you. But anyway, I've got it on there, you can see. slides easy. I've got it in a pass-through. And you want to go straight through. Don't go like two sideways. It's not going to work for you. Go straight through. So I've got it down, and I get it down flat and bend it over. See? I've got it bent over onto the hole. And now I'm just going to go tight, and I'm going to come down. And this one's a little fussy because I don't have anything to hook it to. But if I go tight, I'll be okay. I've got that on. Now some people will pass through the other way again, and that's not a bad idea. If you can do so without showing a lot of wire, I'm going to go ahead and do it just because. Just because it's been suggested, and so now I've got to look for my hole, and that's not always easy to find. Ah, I got it. So now I got to get through the other side, which I did, see? I'm not going too far up. That show? Okay. Don't mind us, guys. This is all for you, so that we can do a better job for you. But you're going to have to be part of the process of figuring it out. Okay, now I'm pulling my wire through. Now, some people say, oh, I don't like that 28 gauge wire. It kinks. Well, it sure can. But do you see how I have my finger back behind it here? I found that if I do that and pull through gently, now watch it call me a liar. Pull through gently and keep that loop open and not twisted. See, I'm going to pull that over like that. Okay, I'm about down to the wire. This is where it gets fuzzy. And pull it through. I've got it. Yeehaw! Okay, so now what do I do with this big long loose piece? Well, I go around the stem again. And I go again. Okay, now I want to go up to here, to the flower. So we want to get up there and try and not let a lot of wire show. Now that kind of takes a little figuring on your part. This is where it's maybe a little trial and error, but this is basically the way I usually do it. I'll take that wire and I'll go up behind the leaf. Sometimes I'll even take it and I'll hook it once around the leaf. Now that does show, but it might provide a little security. So there I go. Around the leaf one time. Now I'm up straight behind the flower, see? I don't know. Can you see? Okay. I'm up straight behind. Now this flower has little petals in it which provide indents. So you can, like, it kind of has a little place that you can hook to. So find an indent and pull that wire up like this. Tight. Not so tight that you'll snap it, but tight. Okay, now, and then, you know, if your end of your wire here gets a little gnarly and bent and work hard, just get rid of it. Don't work with that. Get rid of it. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to put another one on. This is the easy part, stringing them on there. Okay. And of course, you know, when you get it down there, you want to make sure that it's face up, but all you have to do is just twist it. Okay, go down, slide on down. Oh, you know what? I just did what I told you not to. I went through two sideways channels. Don't do that. That won't look right. Okay, I'm taking it off. I'm doing it again. I didn't do that on purpose. I just make a lot of mistakes. But I work my mistakes out. Okay, I'm putting it on again. Okay, now it's on straight. See? That's why I didn't go down so good, because it was through the two side passes instead of all the way through the middle one. It slid right down there like it was going down a slide on the playground. Okay, so now I've got that over the middle hole of the flower, and I'm going to take it. Now here I've got to get my wire back around this other petal here behind, pull it up tight. Make sure it's in position, not going sideways. How's that look? Not bad, huh? Okay, so now all we have to do is secure it. So now I'm going to go around the little stem below, right below the petals, as tight as I can get. Maybe 2 passes, maybe 3. Depends. And then I'm going to clip this just like you do when you wrap a loop for an earring or a dangle. I'll pull it up tight, and I'm going to take my sharp little flush cutters and I'm going to get in here as close as I can, and I want to feel over that. Okay, Can I feel that wire? Nope. Good. And then I might take my little flat noses and just tamp that down just a little bit. I love my wolf flat nose. If you don't have these yet, come to the website or wherever it is you can find them. Get them. You will never be sorry that you did. They are just the best. Okay, enough of that commercial. Okay, so now I got that done, and I've got this edge here that I got to clean up. Now I could have saved this to do a twist off, but the way I did this, I don't need a twist off. I'm just going to use this tweezers here to pull a little bit of wire back down in there. So I want as little wire to show. It's impossible to do this and not have any wire showing, but you want as little as possible. On this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap it maybe one more time. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get in there with my flush cutters. Again, try and keep my hands out. And just nip it as close as I can. Oops, I just put my hands in the way. I'll learn to do this. Okay. So, now I'm going to fill over that again. Do I have it? Ah, I see. It doesn't feel bad, but I see something that looks... Oh, that's a loop. Now you got to be careful cutting too quick. You could cut a loop that's sticking out a little bit too far, and then it'll all come off. So I will just tamp that down later. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay. Can you see how pretty? So all I need to do is come over here and do that again. And I'm ready to take this and wire it into my design. Now this would also work with pearls or other little stones that have pass-through holes, or sew-through type stone, or pearl. Same thing. Do the same thing. Okay. So that's how that goes. All right. So I'm going to set that right here. You can continue to see it somewhat. Maybe I'll prop it up against these right now. Okay. Now another thing I wanted to show you was this little example is kind of nice. I'm working on this piece here. That's coming out kind of nice. I like that. Looks like I left the backer piece upstairs. Rats. Anyway, okay. Well, I don't want to finish the back right now anyhow. But this is how it looks. I wired this into the bottom, and on these depressions here, these were like pearl sets. They didn't have holes in them. So what I did was instead of gluing pearls in there, I took my middle hole punches that we sell on the website, or you maybe have them already at your place, and I punched them and made holes in them so that I could hang my little Swarovski Chanels. We have some vintage Swarovski Chanels at the site now while they last, but I love them. It just adds that little bit of sparkle there. And then I hung stuff instead of wiring. And then I wired all these rose Montees on. First I did this one, this one, this one, then this one. And then I finished off by wiring the flower onto the base piece, which looks like this. Okay? I set the pretty lady in an X-shaped filigree, which we have on the site. They're perfect for mounting. You just wrap the edges around it. I don't know if I've got one down here. I'll show you. I don't do that real often. You know what? Maybe that has to be another video. I think it does. Anyway, then I got that on. I wired that on, and then I wired my rose Montees going up the side. And it's pretty much the same thing. Here's the back. I haven't done the backer yet, but you can see the little network of wires on there. And you just do the twist off like I showed you in the first video. Get it tight, don't snap it. And then what I'll do is when I'm done is I'll match this up, because I'm not quite done with it yet. I'll match this up and I'll tack that on after I tack on my pin back. Except that I think this might be a necklace centerpiece. I think it might be kind of pretty as a necklace. So we'll see. Anyway, you're going to want to know how to get those on there. So let's do this. I'll set this here so you can see it. Kind of, sort of. Can they kind of sort of see that? Okay, very good. All right, so what I'm going to start with showing you here is I took another one of those backers and I'm wiring pearls onto that. And I actually still took the shorter lengths of the wire because if you get it too long, you will have kinks and breaks and stuff. A shorter piece is better. You can always twist it off if you leave a tail on the opposite end and start with a new piece, no problem. It's very simple. So anyway, but I'm going to show you how I wire a pearl on here because I've got two left to do. On this one, I have this one pulled down, and see I'm pulling back on my finger underneath so I can keep this tight, like bending the wire. And now I'm going back up through the next hole in the filigree. Those of you who are beaders already, you're like going to say, you're going to start seeing patterns with this. Oh yeah, and I do this next. And you'd be ahead of me because I'm not a beater. So I have that pulled up tight. But I do this. Okay, so next I need a little pearl. These are like, I don't know, 4 or 5 millimeter. They're just MOD Cultura pearls. I got them, I think they're repurposed actually. Anyway, so now I have that on the strand. Now here's the tricky thing. You want to keep this in the middle of the piece of the strand you're tucking down in, or else it's going to go off to one side and the hole will be revealed. And you don't want holes showing in your pearls. You want them to be centered properly. So how in the world are we going to do that? Well, I'm pulling it through. Now when I get to about here, I'm going to want to push that pearl up and kind of hold it and keep it centered as I pull that up. That's not bad. And that's how I did that. Okay, so I got one more to do. Let's do it again together. Okay, so now I'm going to bend that back so it's kind of secure. Then I'm going to come over to the next hole. And also, as I do that, I want to be sure that my wire is not showing in here and sticking out. Okay, so get that nice and tight. That could have been a little tighter now. I thought I had perfect. Just about the time. Well, how do I deal with that then? Okay, well, I'm going to deal with this way. I'm going to pull it up behind. You see how I did that? I took my pliers and pulled it up behind. Hold on to it and pull that down. Let's see how that came. Good. It's good now. Okay, I'm just hoping you can see. It's such tiny, fiddly work, guys. It's rough, you know. But, like I say, we'll have the pictures for you. Okay, next thing. Let's get the speed on. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. Remember how I said, kind of keep it down tight. And now pull the wire through. And when you get close, then that's when you will position the pearl or the bead that you're putting. Sorry, sometimes it'll pull it naturally, but don't count on that. Okay, it's down. Okay, so now I'm going all the way around that. Now what do I do? Well, I got to do my twist off here on the back. These two wires. And remember again, we don't twist too hard, but we do need a twist. You can't just wrap one wire around the other. It's got to be a twist. Okay, so now we're doing pretty good. I've got enough of a twist to make it secure. Don't want too much because this piece of filigree is not dapped. It's a little flat. So if you get too much stuff balled up back here, it's not going to go well for you. I'm going to get that close. Alright, hold this, throw it away. Okay, now I've got this part, and I'm just going to bend it over into the piece. And that's that. Okay, it's pretty flat. When you fill over, it isn't too bad. Okay, so now, what if I added some rose Montees to this? Well, sure. Let's do a little of that. So again, I'm going to cut, 10, 12 inches, not anymore. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to look for another logical place to start. And for me, this is still a little loose. And you know what? I can correct that at the end. I'm not going to worry about that now. What you basically do is you bend the wire and then it'll correct. Okay, so I'm going to go right in here to do it. So what I want to do is I want to come through here on this section. I want to leave a tail. See my tail there? Okay, bend that tail back a little bit, get it out of your way, and now I'm going to go through the other side. Yeah, it's not that hard. It's just so hard at this angle. Ah. Okay, so it's down, and I've bent it around. Okay, so now I need to come back up through, and I'll push my tail out this way and get it out of my way. Just want to make sure it was on secure. Okay, now it's time to add the Montee. And again, I'm watching and holding the wire so that it doesn't kink. Voila, success. Okay, now let's take and put the Montee on. We'll just do a few, guys, because there's nothing to it. And you can roll this back and look at it again. Get through, straight through the pass-through. And now I'm going to come down again. Where did that thing go? Sometimes you gotta, okay. If you have those Octavisor or magnifying glasses, not a bad thing to put on when you do this kind of work. So I've got it on. So now I want to go over to the next little section like that and just continue and go all the way around. And this makes a really pretty border for whatever I want to use as my central motif. Up, see, now I went through the same hole. Okay, that's another no, don't do that. So now I'll have to unkink the wire. This is how you learn. This is how I learned, because there's nobody to teach me. Nobody was teaching this. Except I suppose if you worked for the companies where they made this kind of jewelry. Okay. It's not that difficult, it's just, let's see. Alright, now it's on. We're good. It's on. Alright, I'm going to do one more. So I'm going to come up through this hole. So I don't want to work harden my wire. If your wire starts getting work hardened, like it's starting to feel brittle, that means it's work hardened. It might be time to go ahead and do a twist off. See there, I want to kink to, and be done with it. You know, start a new piece. In fact, I've got a little piece here that's kind of that way, so I'm going to get rid of it. You always want to be careful when you're snipping wire off that it doesn't, you know, you do it carefully and safely and it doesn't go flying across the room and hit somebody in the eye. It would not be good. Or hit you. Okay, so I got another one on there. See? I'm going to go down through. I put it the wrong way. I've got to put it this way. It's so much trial and error, guys. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. I really do know how to do this. I've done it a lot of times. But it's just fiddly, you know. Some of you will get so adept at this, your fingers will fly. And others of us will always labor at it, but we'll do it for the love of it. And that's how it goes. So I've got two of them on. So basically, we continue going all the way around. And then at the end, maybe what you'd want to do is, you might want to center this with a rose. Or maybe you might want to wire some Montees onto this piece. And maybe put it, see, these are also malleable. That's the thing about this kind of brass. You can position it. And you can put this in the middle. I would not rivet that. This kind of work, rivets. There may be some cases when you'd want to, but not usually. And then this guy could be in the middle. Huh. Wouldn't that be pretty? You can see where I'm going with it. And you could attach that all with a ball end head pin. Or if you have a crystal end head pin, take it down through there and wrap it around. And, you know, you can finish up quick that way if you did it that way. But anyway, hopefully that gives you some ideas on how that goes. There's one last little thing that I want to do for my friend Beth Trubman. Because she made a really awesome pendant using this filigree. Now she used it in raw brass and she did a Swelligan application, so it was more toward the patina type look. But she used just this piece. It's a 3x2 filigree, and this is Russian gold. But the thing is, if you use raw brass filigree, it might feel kind of scratchy. Now, if you use plated brass, not so much, because the plating tends to coat it a little bit and get that scratchiness away. But in her case, she's really going to need to face that piece. And also, because it's a pendant, it'll give it some weight. So I'm going to show how you would go about tacking these two pieces together so it would have a front and a back, because she was not sure how to proceed. So I'm going to show you how simple it is. And at the end, I'll take it apart and do something else with it. But I wanted to show everybody, Beth, and everybody like Beth who wants to know how you do it. Now, the best way would be as if the backer piece was completely flat, and we do sell this piece with a flat backer set. The top piece dapped and the back piece flat, but this works fine. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these two holes here. This is going to be so simple. The only thing is because it's dapped and stuff, you know, you got to get it like held together even, but it's not a big deal. You can do it. So now I'm through those two holes, and now I'm coming back through again. If I can just see it. I know you can't see anything now, but you're getting my point. I'm going to go through here. You know what I'm going to do? I've done this so many times, but every different piece, every different type of filigree has its own personality. I'm going to do a twist off first. And then I'm going to go back through here with both of them. And hope it doesn't kink. Okay, a little bit did. Okay, twist it off. It really is not this hard. Okay, now I'm going to separate those wires. Nothing like failure right when you're on camera. It's after I just said how easy this is, but it is. It really is. I'm just not having great success today. Sorry, Beth. This does work. Okay, so now I'm going to go through it again. The problem is they're both dapped. Okay, now I've got it down. Now we're on our way. We're on our way now. Finally. Huh? Are you bored to tears? Are you saying, that Brenda Sue, I don't know about her. You know, I really hesitated for so long to get into this on camera because I don't consider myself an expert. Not by any stretch of the imagination. But I love it. And it is something I've done a lot of. I really, really have. But I've done it, oh, maybe I'd do a large body of work and then I would not do it for a while. And then, you know, it's like, you know, when you haven't done something for a while, then it's like, okay, we're starting over. Okay, so I got this down. And the more you do it, the neater you get. It's not a big deal. Okay, now I want to go over to the other side. So what am I going to do? Well, since this is not all down yet, I'm just going to go through this hole here, over to the other side. Break on through to the other side. You can tell how old I am. Okay, so now I'm going to pull that down, and I got to watch that I don't get this kinked. Okay, that's pretty good. There's a small kink there, but I can deal with that later by tucking it down. And in fact, after I do this, I'll show you. I'm doing my best here so that you can see. So I'm coming up the other side of the scallop, okay? Okay, now I'm just going to wrap that through. Maybe the best thing to do would be twist it as you go. Yep. That's what to do. And then another thing I'm seeing, I don't want to get too tight. I'm going to have to push this over so that I can keep them in sync. If I get too tight on this end, they'll be on the line here by just a little bit and it won't look right. But it really isn't that hard. Normally 10 minutes you're done. except when you're trying to show people on YouTube. Okay, so then I just keep coming around. Keep coming around. Okay. And this is going to be another one of those deals where, just like you do with your earrings, you know how you just clip it off when you've gone around enough? But you get it tight. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold this back to the other side. I'm going to clip this. But I'm going to leave a little bit of tail there. Because why? I'm going to take my needle nose and I'm going to tuck that down in between. And just push it down in there. Okay? Push it all down in there. And then this other little doodad that got sticking up, I'll do the same thing with that guy. There's a lot of glare down here, so it's kind of hard to see it. You may not even see it, but I see it. And that's the thing about making quality jewelry. It's the finish work. It's always the finish work. It's all about the finish work. So I may have to fuss around with this a little bit, but I won't get it in there. It's just because I know where I'm going over. Okay, so you want to get it tucked down in anyway. So anyway, all you do is repeat the other side. What do? You're going to want to pull up on it and push so that I got it even. See, like that? And then I'll do the same thing. And I'll get rid of this side right now. First thing I'm going to do is clip it. And you know, you're going to have your trial and error things, you know. Those, like I say, those of you who are beaders already, this is going to be simpler for you. Those of you who aren't, or maybe you're wire workers, you know, that would be good. Again, let me get my hands out of there. Just have to consider that. Okay, and then this piece flipped up, so I'm going to clip that guy off. Get rid of him. Okay. Feel over that. We're good. You want it to be smooth and silky when you're done. Okay? So then you'll just wire it. This is very secure. Very, very secure. It used to be when I made these, I would go looping all the way around. And you know what? That might be easier for you. Go looping all the way around, all the way through the holes, but you'll have more visible wire, and it's really not necessary. The least wire that you see, the better off that'll be for you. Okay, so Beth, here's to you, babe. I tried to show you. I hope you get the point. It really isn't that hard. Maybe I made it look hard, but it isn't. It's super simple. Okay, so we're going to break for a second. Ivy's going to come around the side, and I'm just going to show you these pieces real quick in like a little parade, up close and personal, and then later on I'll have photos on the blog. Okay? So come on around here, and I'll show you. What kind of work you want? Nice pair of round nose pliers. These ones are made for wire work. They have the grooves in them. Again, these are the Wolf brand that I sell on the site, and I love them. And a nice pair of flat nose. I like these because they're angled, and they also have the notch for wire in them. These are the Xuron flush cutters. They're some of the best you can buy for a cheaper price. We carry them at the site. They're the ones I swear by and use all the time. Here's a pair of nice needle nose tweezers. Can't be without those. I'm sure you have a pair already. I use 28 gauge wire. In this case I used artistic, but beadsmith, pair wire, any of those in a gold plate. Copper 28 gauge. It's fine. It's all good. Rose Montees. Let's look these up close because we didn't get to do that from over there. Rose Montee looks like that on the back. Can you zoom in on that, Javi? And looks like that on the front. And it's all pronged in. And these are very, very nice Czech Preciosa brand ones, and they're machine cut. Machine cut means that the edges are cut with a machine. They're not popped out of a mold. So that's why they're so fiery. And they really are bright. And Czech Preciosa is a good brand to buy because it's economical. It's only one facet less than Swarovski, so it's just as sparkly, in my opinion. So that's your Rose Montee. Here's what I did with the Rose Montee on the little sprig. Can you see that? This one went kind of well. And then you can see on the back, yeah, you see wire. Look at the old pieces, look at the Haskell book, you see wire. It's impossible not to show wire. But today's artists, with all of their experience, are probably going to find newer and better ways to do this all the time, less and less wire showing. Okay, so there you go. There's that piece. We do carry this in the Russian gold-plated section at the site. We have a lot of little pieces that are quite inexpensive that you can use for fill and your filigree, so you might want to come over there and have a look sometime. Alright, so there's that. And here's this other piece that we were doing with our pearls and our rose Montees, and our tail still sticking up because I'm going to finish it. And you can see in the back here I've got a little kink. That won't matter because it's flat. It's going to be covered. Remember how we're going to do that? We're going to do this. And what I'll do is, since this is flat and doesn't make the best sandwich, what I'll probably do is I'll bend this just a little bit to go down in the back of there. And that'll give it a little bit more room for coverage. Okay. And then just to show you again up close, this pretty piece that I have well in progress. I don't have any pearls on it yet, so I may do that. That's why I don't have the back on it. I might put some pearls in here, and maybe a few around there. But I like this. I might have to keep that this time. Let me lay it down so you can really see it. We just got these little Swarovski Chanels, and we don't have a lot of them. They're vintage, but I think she'll put them on the site today. Anyway, all these pieces are available at BeadsWithBoutiques.com along with the Rose Montees. So I hope you get a chance to continue with your adventure in cagework beading, and thank you for bearing with me, and I hope I made my point and that you could see good enough. Please know that I did my best, and that's all I ever want to do for you is my best. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.